I'll start off with you, Anisah. Why did Luton Sixth College want to be involved in a project like this?
Well, initially, we really wanted to host an event on site where we could invite in students, past, present, families into our college just to showcase our science departments and our STEM facilities. But obviously, due to the current climate, we were unable to do so. But we still felt as a college that it was really important for us to promote careers to young people in STEM, in particular, those students who come from BAME backgrounds and who are underrepresented.
Jawairiya, why is it important to perhaps give young people from underrepresented communities that little bit of an insight into the world of STEM through initiatives such as these?
I'd say it comes down to the question of who comes to mind when you think of scientists, and if it's people such as Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, Charles Darwin, etc. But there's so many other great figures who are from BAME backgrounds, such as Ibn al-Khwarizmi or Ibn al-Haytham. But it's about bringing that to a local context. So the young people in Luton, they do go to schools and they are part of a community that is subject to inequality, unfortunately. And what's great about this show and the follow-up show is it's a chance for a few of the many amazing achievements to be celebrated of young people who've come from Luton. If we're encouraging young people to enter STEM fields, they need to be able to see that representation and be able to relate. So I myself, for example, was the only British female Muslim in my cohort of chemical engineering at University of Birmingham. And Birmingham isn't exactly a city that lacks that diversity to begin with, but there is varying amounts of diversity and representation amongst the different sectors of STEM. So it's important for young people to be able to see that representation so they can go on to achieve it.
Brilliant. Back to you, Anisah. The college's role, and as you've described, that yes, we did want to run a project in the college, haven't been able to do so, but the college's role, and you've been integral in this, is really trying to showcase those young people that have come through the college and come through the education system in Luton. And you've really brought them to the fore, and we're going to hear some wonderful conversations with these students. So I suppose the question is, how easy was it to find those inspirational role models?
Honestly, Emma, it was really easy. I think you'd be surprised at how willing our ex-students are to get involved in sharing their stories with myself and with everyone in the town. This links quite well into a much larger community project that the college have recently launched, Luton Success, which is to inspire the next generation, which obviously are using our ex-alumni students to share their successes and their contributions that they're making to our town.
We're going to come back to Luton Success because it is an exciting project, and I know the college have been doing quite a lot of publicity around that as well, and it's great to see some of the videos that are circulating on social media. So we'll come back to Luton Success, but I want to pick up with Jawairiya and give us a little taster of some of the people you've spoken to as well, because we were speaking off air, and you've really we've had such a tremendous response from Luton Sixth Form College alumni that wanted to be part of this initiative in the lead up to British Science Week. So so perhaps you can tell us about some of the people that ex-students of the college and ex-students of high schools around Luton, and what have they gone on to?
Yes, so as Anisah mentioned, all the ex-students of Luton Sixth Form College and students who come from Luton, they are very eager to partake in initiatives like this to help other young people and just to really share their experiences and journeys and share information that they wish they had when they were in high school or in college. So in terms of some of the guests that we do have lined up for this show and the upcoming show, it was important that the guests do represent diversity. So diversity not only in terms of cultural background, but also diversity in terms of the different pathways and routes that you can take to get into STEM fields. So we've got guests who are going to talk to us about doing an apprenticeship or a degree apprenticeship in engineering related sectors and how that can compare to the traditional route of university. We're going to have guests who have gone to Russell Group universities and to describe their journey, the application process. Is it actually worth going to a Russell Group uni? How much of a difference does it make? We're going to be hearing from people who do cover the different categories of STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And that was to just really be truly representative of the diversity amongst the different STEM categories that do exist. And the guests were all really, really keen to be a part of this initiative and use this as a platform to reach out to young people in Luton and share their experiences and give their insight into the different roles and different pathways that are available to get into STEM. So it's just about providing the young people of Luton with that opportunity to access that information, because it is different to just simply Googling this information compared to listening to someone who's got first-hand experience in it. So it's about giving the young people the opportunity to access this information and perhaps broaden their minds and open their minds to a pathway or a career that they may not have thought of possible before.
That's brilliant, and we'll pick up this point later in this segment. But I feel that there's a general thought process that A levels still stand above and beyond any vocational qualifications, and that's totally incorrect. And I know with some of the guests we've got coming up over these two shows that there's some tremendous insights into how vocational qualifications, degree apprenticeships, again, a relatively new concept, but we've also got someone that's gone through that process as well. I wanted to actually, Jawairiya, what encouraged you, what inspired you to go into chemical engineering? Because it's not a degree that I would really expect anyone to be doing unless you've got a career path in mind. So was there someone at college when you studied, or a high school, that, or any moment that you perhaps ignited that spark for you?
I'd say for me, it was over the course of my academic journey. So at high school, I really did begin to spark an interest in science, and that was down to my science teacher. So in particular, my chemistry and physics teacher. And in college as well, I had great teachers at college who also made me really enjoy chemistry and physics and maths. And it's something I have touched upon in my Luton Success video as well that I did for the college, but I did study biology, physics, chemistry and maths in my first year of college, and I then proceeded on to just the 3 sciences. But it was tough deciding whether to carry on with physics and maths, and I'd say that is down to the amazing teachers that I did have there that made me want to carry on with both, but I just didn't think was feasible for me. And because I did enjoy all of the subjects so much, chemical engineering seemed right for me. I did enjoy chemistry and I was thinking pure chemistry, but I did not want to do a pure chemistry degree because I didn't want to limit my options. And so chemical engineering is quite nice because it does encompass chemistry, physics, maths, as well as elements of biology. So it does really tie in all those 4 subjects I studied at Luton Success from college quite nicely. But also, where does chemical engineering take you? It can take you into a range of fields. And so it's not restrictive. And that's what really made me want to study chemical engineering, purely because of my academic interests. And I did not really want to be restricted in my career choices. And I'm now going down a different career path with teaching to just really show young people that you can still enter that field. Even if you don't pursue a career into it, you have that choice to enter it and you can still enter it.
listeners, we're speaking with Jawairiya Tanveer, Unleashing Potential mentor and aspiring teacher and a science teacher, and we've also got Anisah Akhtar from Luton Sixth Form College, speaking about some of the work the college have been doing ahead of British Science Week. Just picking up Luton Success, it's been mentioned a couple of times now, Anisah. Tell us a little bit more about Luton Success, because I know the college have, as I said, and some of our listeners will have seen some of the videos that are circulating on social media from alumni, former students from the college. But tell us a little bit more about why an initiative such as Luton Success is important to the college.
Well, an alumni project like this has been on the agenda for quite some time now, and it was only through a couple of weeks ago actually we launched it, where we did a call out across our social media platforms, and the interest sparked from there. We were inundated with messages, emails, DMs from ex-students from recently and from many years ago who wanted to get involved and take part. And I genuinely feel like myself, Altaf, and other SLT members were taken aback by how eager people were to share their stories and inspire young people in our town. So yeah, that's where it sparked off from, one alumni call. And since then, we've just been getting in videos from people from across the town. We've got people from Luton, people have now moved across seas from Dubai, Qatar, loads of places, getting involved and sharing their stories with us. So yeah, it's really kicked off, and I think it's really important that Luton Sixth Form started this project, because as one of the largest sixth form providers in the town and one of the largest in the country, we need to be shouting more about our successes, for which there are many. So yeah, we really hope this project kicks off and inspires a whole new generation.
So for the young people listening in, and I know Altaf has been on Inspire FM many times, and he's spoken quite passionately about the potential there is in the town. So for young people listening in, year 9s, 10s, and 11s, and those at college as well, what can we expect from Luton Success? Because there are a few videos on your YouTube channel or from former students at the college as well. But what's the plan now? Because we spoke about this a few days ago, and you mentioned that you really wanted to go for this to go into the summer, and for this to be an opportunity for young people to hear from others that came before them in the town and have gone on to great things.
Well, I think you touched on a good point there, what Altaf always says. Altaf is very optimistic that the next Prime Minister is coming from Luton, and he stands by that. I think with regards to what you said about our alumni project and where this is expected to go, well, there are 3 phases to this campaign, and as I've said to people who've got involved and have reached out to me, this campaign will build momentum as it grows, and that's what it's doing. So we're currently in phase 1, where we are gathering content. I'm reaching out to people are reaching out to me. We're gathering people together, really. So this is we're in phase 1 at the moment. Phase 2 will be where we actually begin to share publicly and quite loudly across our social media platforms what we've got. At the moment, you probably have seen a couple of videos dotted about, but as a college ourselves, we've not shared anything yet. It's out there, but we've not publicly done anything with them. So that will be phase 2, where we do a soft launch, where we start to share across social media platforms. And then phase 3 will be hopefully in the summertime, where we'll do our official launch of Luton Success, where we hope to make a bit more of a song and dance about it, where we hope Boris will let us invite people back on site, where we can invite our alumni back to the college and show them our fantastic building and the facilities and what potentially has changed around the college for some of these people who haven't been to the college in many years. So for students who are listening, year 10s, year 11s, yeah, watch this space, follow us on social media, and keep up to date with what's going on with Luton Success. And for anyone else listening who is an alumni, then we would seriously encourage you guys to get in touch and get involved and share your stories, because there are so many great successes that have come from Luton, not just our college, but from Luton in general, which we should shout about more, because we've got great things to talk about.
That's absolutely brilliant, Anisah, and you've spoken really passionately, as I know Altaf does, about the potential there. And yes, of course, as a former governor of 7 years at the college, he has spoken for many years, and he believes it. And I genuinely, knowing the young people of Luton as I do, because I do a lot of work with our schools, there is so much talent out there as well, and it's so heartening to see as well. And I've seen some of the videos, and I suppose one of the important aspects is that we didn't need to encourage too hard for these for the alumni to be involved. I suppose it's those values about reaching back and ensuring that you keep the door open for those people that come in behind you. I suppose that's maybe an analogy, a way that I look at things as well. So I'm speaking, I suppose, to a mentor in Jawairiya, because you're going to be a teacher and you're going to inspire young minds in the world of STEM, in the world of science. So what were your experiences like as a mentor at Luton Sixth Form College?
So I did take a gap year before I went on to university, and I did spend that gap year working as a STEM mentor at Luton Sixth Form College. And it was a good opportunity for me, but it was also a really good opportunity for the students. So prior to that, there was no real official STEM aim, and I was the first official STEM aim. So it was quite refreshing for the students to have someone who is younger and closer in age gap to them, for them to be able to relate to. And I think in a mentor, that's what you want. You want a mentor that you can relate to, you can talk to and open up with, and just learn from. And because I was also going through my journey in applying for university, I was able to share that experience with the younger students as well and guide them along. So it was a really great opportunity for me at Luton Sixth Form College, and it's one that I have continued to still be a part of to some extent with other roles at the college as well.
What are the important values behind British Science Week is to encourage girls and women into science, and I suppose as someone yourself, you've described earlier on the experience of studying chemical engineering in Birmingham. So why is it important? Because you've got a lot of female guests that you're speaking to as well. So why is that an important part of this project, you feel, for yourself?
I think it's definitely an important conversation to be happening, because I think for some young females, especially from BAME backgrounds, I think it can be a daunting aspect. Do I go down that route, given the lack of representation, given that not so great male to female ratio, perhaps? Not always, but for some it can be quite daunting. And it's a shame if that is a factor that does put you off from pursuing something down to those reasons. And so it is important to be having these conversations, but also to shine a light on the females and people from BAME backgrounds who have gone on to study those STEM related subjects, or gone on to pursue a career in those STEM related subjects. And it does vary amongst the different STEM categories, amongst the different types of engineerings, for example. So yes, although I was the only British female Muslim in my cohort, chemical engineering is one of the better engineering sectors in terms of that male to female ratio as compared to aeronautical or mechanical engineering, for example. But if you were to kind of think of STEM, technology, engineering and mathematics, technology, I would say from my experience reaching out to young people to find someone who does fit that criteria of coming from a BAME background, who is a female, I found technology to be the hardest sector to find someone like that from. And we will be hearing from our guest who will share her experience by actually being a part of that technology field. And has she come across anyone who is a female from a BAME background? But I think the important thing with these shows, and what's great about these shows, is it does shine a light that, yes, that representation is there? And if it isn't, then why don't you be that representation? And that's something we will also be hearing about with our guests on these shows as well.
Brilliant, thank you, Jawairiya. Anisah, I want to, we've only got a few moments left. I want to speak, if we can, about vocational qualifications, and in particular, this is something I think is quite important for the young people and I suppose the parents listening in. But the college are working incredibly hard to show that, as well as the traditional A-level route, there are vocational qualifications out there as well. And I know with a couple of our speakers we've got coming up, they haven't taken that traditional route into going into STEM and into some very, very, pretty impressive careers in STEM as well. So what's the sort of thought process behind Luton Success, and where do those alumni that have gone through the non-traditional route fit into Luton Success?
I think you're right, Emma. I think the college as a whole, we are very passionate about spreading this word about vocationals and the stigma around them. I know Altaf's been on Inspire a number of times talking about vocational qualifications, and we as a college, like I said, when we go to high schools, when we speak to our prospective students and their families, we always advocate for vocational qualifications because they get such a hard time, and I think it's just a lack of understanding around them. You can still do a vocational qualification and still go to university and get a career, and a very proud career, a professional job, and you can still do all of that. And I think it's about changing the dialogue and conversation about what it is to do a vocational qualification. And what you said about our Luton Success stories, I think they are a prime example of that. We've got a number of students on there who did vocational qualifications whilst they were with us, went on to university, and now are in careers and talking about their jobs and how they did it. So I think it's really important in relation to Luton Success that we do get those people who did BTECs with us to come forward and share it, because especially for year 11s coming to us now with prospective students, and it's such an important time now for them to making those choices. I think they need to be much more informed about what they can do with their choices, what they choose to study with us here. It doesn't have to just be an A-level course.
Listeners, you've been listening to Anisah Akhtar from the team at Luton Sixth Form College, speaking about the importance of considering that balance, the traditional route into and going on to university, or maybe vocational qualifications onto university, or into the world of work as well. There are a number of options available, and I know as someone that perhaps underperformed when I was at the college many years ago, I would have certainly benefited from that insight into those career pathways that do exist. I want to finish up with Jawairiya, who's very much been taking the lead on speaking to some of our guests, and Jawairiya, we're coming up to the final minute or two of the show, but what's the experience been like for you to speak to such inspiring role models?
It's been a very positive, pleasant experience to firstly reach out to young people and for them to want to be a part of this project and this initiative, but also hearing their impressive, amazing journeys. And I think more importantly, the variety of journeys and the variety of fields that they are in. And I think it's so important for that variety to really be shown and highlighted. And I hope that is what these shows can do. And that's something I do love about the Luton Success project as well, the fact that you do have a variety present. And I think it's so important for the young people of Luton to see that.
Just finally, Anisah, if a young person wants to, we're just heading towards a break, 20 seconds away. But if a young person wants to get in touch with someone at the college to speak about the applications process or any other questions, how do they get in touch with the college?
I think very quickly, there's a few ways that you can get in touch with us directly on admissions. There are contact details all on the website, the whole contact page there with names and numbers of key people in the college. Another really quick way to contact us is via our social media platforms, just dropping us a message there, and then I'll be happy to direct your query to the correct person